Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to Let's Talk Marketing with In-Depth Podcast, where I'm your host, Nathan Webster. I'm excited to chop it up with you today. Today's episode is episode 163. This is a part two, a twofer for you when it comes to how to vet a social media agency with Réland, Logan. I was trying to get all of that all smooth and silky. That did not work. Obviously, y'all, I know you think I'm perfect, but I make plenty of mistakes. So that's just one of them that you get today. So, Ray.
Hello.
What's up?
Oh, just chilling here. It's hot today. But no, I'm super excited to be back. And in case anybody's watching on YouTube, you'll notice nothing here changed, but we're super excited to give you part two. That way, if you're listening in your car and you're on a drive, you don't feel compelled to have to sit there in the parking lot. You can come back to us. So welcome back. We're happy to tell you all about what transpired after the cliffhanger. But in case you're curious, and it's your first time here, my name is Réland Logan. I am the owner of Gray Digital Marketing, partner and friends here with Nathan. I am your brand coach and your brand's new cheerleader, and I'm excited to share how to vet social media agencies. Nathan, I believe this is your show and not mine. My bad.
You are perfectly in alignment to where I need to thank all my subscribers and followers. And I appreciate you. Look, y'all, we are only at 19 comments. So if you are able to go to the platform, especially if you're on Apple, please, if you're on Apple, that's where the lion's share of podcasts come from. Please rate and review the show so we can get our stats up, okay? If this is your first time on the show, thank you so much for joining today. I really appreciate you. Hopefully, this has been encouraging, but I will say if this is your first time listening, you should probably go back and go to the first episode because Ray dropped some diamonds, and we're just gonna start to pick up where we left off. But I want to say number one, she says we have to start asking key questions. We had a little dialogue with that, and then step 1A was, will they make you money? So step 2, have your ducks in a row. And that's where we left off at. So, Ray, please.
Quack, quack. Here we go. Ducks in a row.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So, as Nathan was saying, we have to ask key questions when we are vetting a social media agency or somebody to be our social media manager. And the next thing that I left off with is it's about you also having your stuff together. And I say this to say, when I started Gray Digital, I started out to be a social media agency. And I would get clients, and then I would get frustrated with the clients. And yes, we get frustrated with our clients. I'm sorry, we're human. But I would get frustrated because I'd want to start their social media, but they had no branding to speak of. And so it was a slower roll because I was helping them get their key message together. I was helping them figure out what is their brand voice. I was helping them figure out who are we going after? Like, where was there commonalities amongst the folks that we were helping? And a lot of those things, that is a separate entity than your marketer and your social media person. They are separate, and you need to know those things in order for them to be the most successful. Otherwise, you just said, hey, get me these results, but here's the starting line, but I need you to start like 100 feet backwards. And that's not fair to them, and it's a poor waste of your money if you're not prepared.
Well, even last episode, I talked about being in a position where someone's upset at their last web developer or webmaster, and I have to now do damage control. I have learned from those experiences, just really piggybacking on what you're saying of starting 100 steps backward. I tell people, if you don't have a website or if you have all these ideas, do it yourself so you can understand how it works, and then to get it because there's a back end and there's a front end and there's a business. I always say your website is your walking business plan. So I do believe some people are just say, okay, we're going to start here and we're going to just be like a unicorn and run to fly. And it's like, no, like you said, you got to go back. So I'm glad that, and for those that didn't hear Ray say that, I want to highlight that, because also going backwards doesn't mean it's a bad thing either.
It doesn't mean it's a bad thing, because you want to know, I share with lots of folks that I don't enjoy doing brand strategy for brand new businesses. I prefer folks who have been in business for 2 to 3 years. And the reason I want that is because you have made it messy and you have tried and you've climbed mountains. And then you hit a point where you're like, oh my gosh, please help me find clarity. Like, help me to make this super, super clear so I can move forward with purpose. A lot of
Hmm.
times when you're starting out, you're just so in the minutia of, I heard this here, I heard that here. Like, my mom says, do this. Like, your brain it just can't compute it all. You have to do it yourself first. And it's difficult, but it's only going to help over the course of time. Like I said, I started as a social media agency. I now have a brand strategy agency that does help folks with social media and marketing, but step 1 is brand. Period. In my world. So, that would be step 2, is you have to have your ducks in a row. You have to know what those pieces are, because a lot of times, if you find an agency worth their salt, they're going to tell you to take a couple steps backwards and that you need a brand plan, because what you have shared with them is not clear and they know they can't help you until it is clear. And they're most likely going to be your more expensive option because they've done this a few times. If you end up
Hmm.
needing to hire somebody to be your social media manager, and let's say they're fresh out of college, they still need that direction. It's
Yeah,
not
they
that
do.
they're going to be bad. They're probably really going to be amazing. They're younger. They use these tools all the time, but they still need the direction to know what it is that you're looking for. Otherwise, they're just going to be doing testing and trying to please you, and it might not work out very well. And I've seen both things happen and everything in between. So please, please, please have your stuff together. Make sure you have your brand guidelines or even a one pager to say, these are my colors. This is my tone of voice. This is how I want to be perceived in the market. This is my mission. This is my vision. This is my typography. Here you go.
And,
Um,
and and I
Go
will
for it,
say,
Nathan.
just to jump in with that, as you transition, when you talk about having your ducks in a row, and I love that, because people think a fallback, I can just use a person from a younger generation to help me with these tools. And I'd say, okay, do you know how to ride a bike? And they're like, well, yeah. I said, okay, are you then going to qualify for the Tour de France? And of course, they look at me like, what? And it's like, just because people know how to do something doesn't mean they're a professional and know how to do it that way. So it is something that you do need to really think about. And there's no reason why you can't get help from a professional, because there are folks out there, rather than going to someone who doesn't know how to do it on a professional level.
And please give everybody a chance. Just be prepared on what you have to
Mm-hmm.
do.
Mm-hmm.
And then my last hot take, the step 3 that is going to go against Gary V, y'all. I'm sorry.
Go against Gary who?
Exactly. Who? That man has millions of people working for him. Who do you
Mm.
have? So here is my number one thing about social media that I think we should all be a little bit more aware of is, please figure out which one you love the most
Mm. Go ahead. Go ahead.
and spend time there first and build an audience. I wish I had a cup of water in front of me. But when you try to be on every social media channel, you're trying to just spread out a bottle of water amongst 8 cups.
Mm.
And I've got a little bit here in TikTok and a little bit more here in Instagram, and maybe a drop in LinkedIn, and like, here's WhatsApp and here's Facebook. Like, they tell me to be on Facebook, but it seems like that's just chaos. out of control. And then and now I have like maybe a drip of water for this new one over here. You already have to wear many hats. You are not an octopus. You do not have multiple arms. You also need to go to sleep at some point in time. And if you're not the expert in how to make all these things work for you and how to reuse content, and if you're having a hard time just creating content, how in the world are you going to know how to reuse it? So take 5 million steps backwards and say, I know my core audience is really here, and get really good at building an audience there if you're just starting out, and fill that cup. And when that cup starts to overfloweth, let the overflow go into the next one, and then fill up that cup. And then that audience that you built in cup 1 and the audience you built in cup 2, and there will be some rollover, somebody's going to follow you on everything. They will start to follow and grow with you. And you can use those other platforms to say, hey, I'm also here. Hey, I'm also there. And that is going to allow you to just keep calm and social media on. But when it comes to vetting a social media agency, you're going to know which ones to go after, because some of us specialize in Instagram. Some of us specialize in TikTok. Some of us specialize in LinkedIn. Some of us specialize in Twitter. Or we have a combination of a few, but I promise you, we are not masters of all. They are very different. And so when you know what platforms are great for you and your audience, you are a little bit more targeted in who you're going after to manage your social media. If you know to ask the right questions, if you have your branding together and ready to go to hand over, and you know what social media platforms you need to be on, vetting folks is going to be a whole lot easier than sitting in front of somebody and now they start telling you what your brand should be. They start telling you what social media platforms you should be on. And your only question is, I'm sorry, what do I do again? Why do I do it? You need to get back in the driver's seat and drive that conversation. It is your business, not theirs. And at the end of the day, you are accountable to those results. And that includes the social media agencies that you work with.
Yeah, as I tell my clients, I would say more so on the prospecting side when we're sitting down talking, I tell them all the time, my goal is not to be front and center. People are not supposed to know I'm there, that you have a contract with me. This is about you. And in order to make it about you, this is where you need to gel with people, because sometimes I've had like, why don't you do this with me? And I was like, no, this is about you. And hopefully you are going to partner with someone that understands not only your value proposition, but also your leadership and also your personality, to where especially social media, it's all about learning a company's character. So for that company's character, you want to make sure that those folks that are going to be working with can highlight that, because if you look at Ray, she always comes in a hat. That's just her character. If you go to her website, it's going to be on her website. That's just how she rolls. So I think for that, not everyone's going to come off that way, because there's some, say, traditionalists, there's some scientist part of it, there's an art and a science to it. So with that being said, I love what you said with that, Ray. Just one thing at a time, going against Gary Vaynerchuk. And you know what? He would probably agree with you, because it can be very stressful if you're doing too much and you're not getting results. So he's just gonna say, yeah, that expert social media brand cheerleader, Raylan Logan, she was right. You need to follow her. You need to listen to her. She knows what she's talking about.
It's easier for him. He's built platforms on multiple places, and that's okay. He's gotten to that point.
Right.
And it goes against some things that my friends have said. But I also know that if you're calm in your heart, it's easier to grow than it is when you feel the pressure of everything else. So make it easier on yourself. Do you want to roll a rock uphill, or would you like to roll it downhill? You let me know. I'll let you decide.
If that's the case, then you need to let them know how they can get in contact with you if they're ready to start. They say, look, I'm done with this rock. I need some.
I would like this rock to turn into diamonds, please. Thank you.
Right?
It's put on enough pressure.
Exactly. And I'm hot. So I got heat and pressure. So that should make the diamonds.
Let's do it. Well, If you want to connect with me, the very best place to connect with me is on Instagram at Gray, that's GRAY, digital MKTG. You will see a lady with a hat and a smile. That would be me. And if you really truly are like, oh, I just have so many questions, I don't know if Instagram's even my platform, I haven't started one, go ahead and email Nathan. He will be able to get you a hold of me. He will be able to maybe even answer some of those questions, but we do talk on a regular basis. And you can reach him at, take it away, Nathan.
info@nwebsterllc.com.
And because today I'm going to be that person, I unfortunately will not talk to you unless you hit subscribe, download, and leave a comment on this post. Thank you. I'm just kidding. I'm not that person, but you should do that anyways.
Raylan already teed me up to tell you, if you haven't already subscribed or follow the show, what's wrong with you? Come on. Let's go. Let's do it. With a smile for those that can't see me. But you can also watch this on YouTube. Have you subscribed? Have you?
Do it
that
right
pauses
now.
for you to hit pause. Oh, what'd you say, Ray?
Do it right now.
Ooh,
You
see,
know you want to.
Yeah, we're trying to give you that time. But look, we're past our time. We're having fun as we always do. Y'all, we appreciate you, Ray, Lynn, Logan,
That's me.
the queen bee of marketing. Thank you so much for coming on the show today.
It was my pleasure. Thank you for having me. And I promise it won't be that long. I feel like I say that every episode. It won't be that long between episodes, y'all. I'll be back.
I think the last time you were here, ooh, I don't even, I don't, ooh, I don't know if you've been on this year. Oh my gosh, Ray.
Raylan's no longer here. Whoa, y'all. I rebranded this year. It's been fun.
I'm looking out like, hold on. I don't think Ray's been on at all this year. Yes. Wait, how to set up your marketing year? I think that was you in early January.
Oh,
So
there you go.
there we go. Look, yeah. So it's only been like 6 months. It's only been 6 months.
It's fine. It's fine. I hibernate in the winter. The fact that you got me to come out was a win in and of itself.
Right? I'll take it. Well, I'm glad you showed up. I'm glad you made it, and we're gonna put all your stuff in the show notes as well.
I love it. All right, y'all. Until next time.
Yes. Until next time, we wish you nothing but the best. So dream big and Godspeed.